Yo! Yes!
Give it up for everyone else you've seen tonight.
Yeah!
Everybody's been amazingly talented, and I like them. And I like you, also. The theme is nostalgia, and I want to talk about some shit from my past. In college, I used to live with a drug dealer, and this guy would make a ton of money by scamming people. And his favorite scam was he'd sell a thing called custom weed. And custom weed worked like this. You would tell him the movie you'd want to see, and he'd make you weed that would match the high for that movie. And first of all, that's retarded, because that's not how plants work. But people believed him. I remember one day this one guy busted in our apartment, he's like, hey man, thank you so much for that limited edition Lord of the Rings weed. That shit was incredible. I got so high it made me want to go on a quest to get back a ring from my ex-fiance. And I was like, after that guy left, I was like, damn Bobby, what'd you sell that guy? And he goes, oh, I sold him heroin. Custom weed is heroin. That's why he was hallucinating. I was in a bar the other night and I saw two guys about to get into a fight. And one guy got so mad at the other guy, he was like, hey man, you could suck my dick. And I was really offended because I don't like it when guys say that to each other in public. Because I'm a guy and I like to have my dick sucked. So I wish these other guys wouldn't spread false propaganda like sucking dick is a degrading thing. Like it's punishment for being an asshole. We guys should be acting like sucking dick is a positive thing. Like it's a reward for good behavior. Thank you. We should be saying things like, oh hey Jennifer, I saw some of those paintings that you posted on Facebook the other day. I'm really impressed. I had no idea you were such an amazingly talented artist. You know what? You can suck my dick. That would be such a better use of that phrase. Guys, I was watching this TV show about, is America in decline? And the show was saying, America's in decline because of George Bush's policies. And I disagree. I think that America's in decline because Ronald Reagan is no longer president. I think Ronald Reagan was the best president we've ever had. America peaked during the Reagan administration. Let me tell you why I think that. I remember the Reagan administration. I was only 4, but I remember it was a time of small government, low taxes, and it was a time when you could just run around your house in your underwear screaming and nobody would say shit. It was an amazing time in our history. During the Reagan administration, there were no speed limit laws about how fast you could ride your tricycle on the sidewalk. If you could ride at 70, 80 miles an hour, nobody would say anything. I remember one time I was riding my tricycle, must have been 90 miles an hour. Like, this is what it felt like. And then I hit the tree, and I bruised my knee. And back then, we had real health care. Like, we didn't have this Obamacare shit. I was just like, Mom! And she came out, and she fucking helped me. That's what America was like back then, guys. Sometimes people say, Sam, you only like Reagan because you were a little kid and you didn't have to go to school yet. I'm like, well, that's a good theory, but that is assuming that it's just a pure coincidence that the same year George H.W. Bush was inaugurated, I had to start kindergarten. I'm not dumb enough to believe that, you liberals. Guys, in 1986, when Ronald Reagan passed his second tax cut, remember that day, guys? It was a glorious day in our country's history. Me and my family went to the pool to celebrate, and I took a poop. And I laughed when I saw the poop float to the top. And my dad was like, don't laugh, you did a bad thing, you're gonna get us kicked out of the neighborhood pool. But I continued to laugh because that was my right as an American. And my dad finally had to grab the poop and toss it over the fence so we didn't get kicked out. That's what America was like back then, people. That wouldn't have happened to me during the Clinton administration. Right? Not even during the Bush administration. Sometimes people say, Sam, the fact that Ghostbusters 2 ruined the Ghostbusters franchise had nothing to do with the fact that Ronald Reagan left office. I'm like, really? Is it a coincidence that the same year Ronald Reagan left office and George H.W. Bush was inaugurated, Ghostbusters 2 was released? Guys, Ghostbusters 2 is an awful movie. In the movie, the Ghostbusters went into the mayor of New York's office and like, hey, ghosts are about to invade New York, we need to do something. And the mayor's like, that's ridiculous. Everybody knows that there's no such thing as ghosts. That would make sense, except for the fact that the mayor and everyone in his office are completely forgetting that 5 years earlier, a shit ton of ghosts and monsters invaded New York, and the movie Ghostbusters won. Am I really supposed to believe that the mayor forgot that a 20-story tall marshmallow man was crushing cars and terrorizing the population in Times Square? I think if you want to be the mayor of New York, you should have at least a rudimentary knowledge of the history of New York. Obviously, that's the Bush propaganda machine trying to black out the memory of the glorious Reagan years. Let me end with this. A new sandwich shop opened up in my neighborhood, and I went in there, tried to check it out, and the sandwiches looked gross, so I decided to leave. But before I could make it out the door, the guy behind the counter was like, "Can I help you, my friend?" And I felt bad for not wanting a sandwich, so I was like, "Oh yeah, I would love a sandwich, but I left my money at home. Let me go home and get my money and be right back." And then after I left, I felt bad, and I actually thought about going back. And then I realized, wow, I have such a big ego that I actually think that this guy working at the sandwich shop gives a fuck whether I ever come back and get a sandwich from him. Like in my head, he's just sitting there all day like, I wonder what happened to that guy. He seemed like a really cool guy. I would make him a delicious sandwich. I really hope he's alright. I got home, like, he's like, "Sorry honey, I can't fuck you tonight. I've just been thinking about this guy. He told me he was gonna go home and get his money, and I never saw him again. Like, I don't know, maybe he went to a different sandwich shop. That would break my heart." Like, he leaves me a sandwich in his will. Like, it's never too late. You can always come get it. Let me end you with this dumb thing. I think an awkward time in everybody's relationship is when the girl wants the guy to tell her that he loves her, and the guy doesn't want to say it. My theory is just be honest. What I'll tell the girl is, listen, I love you. I'm deeply in love with you. But at the same time, I'm emotionally unstable, and I don't know what words mean. Alright, thanks a lot, guys.